Well, good morning. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's Monday. It's early. I woke up at 4:30, so we get to be on early today. Hey, it's good to see you all. I hope you had a good Sunday. Good morning, Caitlin. Good morning. How was your weekend? What did you all do? I always tell you what I did or what I'm doing, and I'd love to hear in the comments how your weekend was or your Sunday. God did some breakthroughs, I think. He did some breakthroughs for me. I think he most likely broke through for all of you. We're on a journey in Joshua that is quite prophetic, and today is no exception in Joshua 8. Hello, Gail. Good morning. My sister let me come over yesterday and take a 45-minute nap at her house. Okay, so here we are, Joshua, Judges, and Ruth. Now, some of you are still in this study with us and do not have your book. And I want you to see how marked up mine is and how you would benefit so much from the Holy Spirit giving you insight as you read along and writing with pen. So if you are still coming along with us, but you don't have your book, please tell me so that we can get you a book if it's not possible for you to purchase one on your own. Because this is long term. This is at least for the whole summer. And the other translations of the Bible are awesome, but this is very unique, and you want to get the notes, and some of the homework assignments are from the notes. So I just want to encourage you to let me know. Let me see what you wrote here. Quiet and peaceful weekend. Cleaned the house. Went to the swap meet. I haven't been to a swap meet in a long, long time. We have a swap meet here in Reading, actually, that I got my purse at 2 years ago that I still use. And everyone asks me where I got my purse, and I have to tell them the swap meet. How fun. Um, yeah, our weekend was beautiful here. It's such a blessing when it's not too hot to be able to go out and do some things. So Gail and I were at one of the prettiest nurseries that we have here in our area. And, it's like just uh, huge, huge, amazing garden, feels like. And so I think she has buku flowers to plant. Not I, because I'm not planting until I know what's happening with our family. But um, what else? My daughter Penny went to a going away party yesterday. Um, Bethel Church here in Reading is planting a church in North Carolina. And so that might be a good thing for some of you to know if you have friends or relatives in that uh, Greenville. Greenville is how I would say it, but I guess you're supposed to say Greenville. And so if you have people in that area that would want to know about that, anyway, she was saying goodbye to some friends that she went to school with and her teacher. And let's see, what else? We had a great service Sunday morning. Penny's first time to serve in the coffee bar. She did a great job. She got a $5 tip. Woohoo! um, yes, I think my most exciting thing to tell you about this weekend was the Lord whispered to me in church an allergy pill to go buy. So I went and bought it in the afternoon and tried it for the first time yesterday, which it was a modification of one that I'd taken years ago, and I think it worked. I'm going to take it again today. And if I have 2 days in a row where my symptoms are cleared up like they were yesterday afternoon, this is going to make me one of the most happy kiddos you've seen in a while. So um, I will let you know. And also this week I start either one or two toddler music classes. And I haven't held one in several months because I just haven't had the inquiries for them. But I think people are ready to do something in the summer. So I've got scrambling as I put together a Winnie the Pooh theme, which the Lord gave me yesterday as well. So, yeah, fun stuff. I'm sure I'm leaving out lots more, but let's see what else. Anybody else jumping on here and want to say anything? Okay, we'll get started because this is a very long chapter. And I think, I'm pretty sure that you're going to be able to write down or circle or underline or highlight at least 3 points in this chapter because there's some very good things. Oh, oh my, there's a ruckus. Can you get out? Can you get out? Okay. I'll close it because then he won't be able to come in. Thank you, Penny. Penny's so helpful. When the dogs start barking, she's right on it. Thank you, sweetheart. Hi, Pepper. You're not in trouble. I'll see you soon. Oh, I went to a garage sale. I got to go garage sailing. It's my last little and see this shirt? This was one of like, not exaggerating, 50 things that were in a bag of clothes that this lady gave to me for $5. So I have a summer shirt here, and I gave 2 bags from that bag away to another family yesterday. I thought I'd fit into most of them, but I didn't. That's not good news, but I have to buy things that are made for tall women. Yes, I do, or it comes way above my ankles. So that's probably more than you wanted to know. Okay, we're back to this word AI, and I don't know if you pronounce it I or A. Maybe someone can help me, but I'm just going to say I. And the title of this chapter is I Conquered. Ready? Okay, we're on page 25. Yahweh said to Joshua, do not yield to fear nor shrink back because of Israel's failure. Now get up and take all your soldiers with you and march against Ai. This is one of those verses like chapter 1:9 when he says, don't be afraid, Joshua. And he's saying, take all your soldiers with you and march against Ai. See, I have handed over to you the city, the king, his people, and his land. Another directive from the Lord with a promise attached. You don't have to worry. You don't have to do anything more than what I'm telling you to do because the victory is yours. Okay. Do to Ai what you did to Jericho and its king, except this time you may take the plunder, including livestock, and set an ambush behind the city. So this time it's different. And we always want to follow God's plan. I'm going to refrain from commenting before I read all this to you because I want to keep stopping. Okay, so he said, take the plunder, including the livestock, and set an ambush behind the city. Verse 3, Joshua and his entire army set out to attack Ai. He chose 30,000 valiant warriors and sent them ahead by night with these instructions. Now pay attention, set an ambush behind Ai, but don't hide very far away. Stay alert and ready for battle. I'll lead the rest of the army and make a direct assault on the city, and when they come out to fight us, we'll flee from them as we did the first time. When this happens, they'll say to themselves, look, they're running away from us just like last time. And they'll keep chasing us until we've lured them away from the city. While we're running away from them, jump up from your hiding place and race into Ai and seize it. Yahweh your God will deliver the city into your hands. When you've captured the city, set it on fire. Now that you have your orders, go and do as Yahweh has commanded. It's really hard for me not to say about 5 things right here, but I'll come back. Yes, I-E, A-I. Is it A-I? Two separate vowels. Okay. Joshua then sent them off, and they proceeded to take up a concealed position west of Ai. I'll try Gail's way. Between Ai and Bethel, while Joshua spent the night with the rest of the troops. So early the next morning, Joshua mustered his troops. He and the leaders of Israel went in front of the army and led them towards Ai. The entire fighting force with Joshua advanced until they were near the city and encamped north of Ai, with a valley between them and the city. He placed a smaller force of about 5,000 men west of the city to set an ambush between Bethel and Ai. The main fighting force north of the city prepared for battle, while the rear guard held a concealed position west of the city, and Joshua spent the night in the valley. Okay, so I have to stop somewhere so that I don't forget everything that I want to say. So that's verses 1 through 13. Surely we can carry on after we talk about these. Let's turn back the page to where we started, and let's go back to verse 1. It says, do not yield to fear, nor shrink back because of Israel's failure. Okay, so there's a tendency that we would have to shrink back or to yield to fear because of our failures, right? And God is saying to Joshua, don't do that. Let me cover you. Let me instruct you. Let me tell you how to move forward. And so he's saying, don't give in to fear. He's using the words here, yield to fear. So let's, in our minds right now, think of the yield sign on the highway, and think about driving and you're yielding to other cars coming in. Imagine that now in your life as you're yielding to fear, allowing it to come into your pathway, so to speak. And the Lord is saying, don't do that. So when you feel it coming, just say, I have instruction not to yield to you, so I'm going to go forward. I'm going to drive forward. And you can't come in my lane. So do not yield to fear and don't shrink back because of Israel's failure. So shrinking back would be another way that we would respond. Um, and this is something that I do. I can completely, both things I can completely relate to. Yielding to fear, come on in, you can be here. But I don't know I'm doing it. So this is good for me to stop and think about God saying, you have time to recognize it. Now don't yield to it. But the second thing here is shrinking back. I think I've shrunk back in so many ways. And I don't know about you, but I used to be really take charge, go forward, point at the spear leader. And I think the Lord sees where I'm at in my life and is encouraging me. And maybe He's encouraging you this morning to not shrink back um, because of our perceived failure. It might not even be that we actually really failed. It could just be what the enemy is lying to us about, calling something a failure that's not really. Um, and so instead he's saying, now get up and take your soldiers with you. So we get up from shrinking back, from yielding to fear. Now get up and take your soldiers with you. Not alone. This is another point of instruction for me. Boy, I can't even get out of the first paragraph. But don't go alone. Take others with you, and then march. Get your feet moving and go against the enemy. And this is why. He says, I've handed over to you the city, the king, his people, and his land. So there's three things that he's handed over to him: the city, the people, the land. So God has different points of your enemy that are, different facets that he's handing over to you: the people, the land, and the city. Sorry, there's four things. I left out the king. That's really important. The king, the ruler over that enemy territory. So, do to I what you did to Jericho. Think back at how we conquered Jericho together, and you listened to me, and it worked, and you were victorious. And keep thinking about how I made good on my promises, God is saying. Do what you did to Jericho and its king, except this time. So here's the difference. We always have to follow God's plan. We learned before not to be presumptuous, prideful, going out in our own way, and then losing potentially 36 men like he did. This time, you may take the plunder. This time, there's no concern about whether you see a robe or see the silver or see the gold. And now, even when you see the livestock, he says, include the livestock. And the last thing he says is set an ambush behind the city. So they're going to go ahead of them forward, and they're going to go behind them with another group of troops. All right. So Joshua and his entire army set out to attack Ai. And do you know he had 30,000 valiant warriors with him? 30,000. Every time I hear the numbers that they speak of in these chapters, I try to think about the size of my city. And like if Redding's at just Redding proper, not the whole Shasta County, but if we're at 10,000, or like I used to live in Scotts Valley by Santa Cruz, and I knew that was about 9 or 10,000 people. Think about that and times it by 3, and that's how big the army was. So that's a lot of people. He sent them ahead by night. Do you know how to march into the night? God will teach us. And he said, pay attention, set an ambush behind Ai, but don't hide very far away. It's nighttime. You're going behind the city, but not too far. So there's specific instructions. Stay alert, don't fall asleep, and be ready for battle. I'll lead the rest of the army and make a direct assault on the city. So he's going to take the army that goes into the city directly, and then he's instructing these 30,000 to go around the rear. And when he goes in to assault the city, he knows that they will come out to fight them. So they'll leave the city, come this way, and there's going to be a whole bunch of troops behind the city for the ambush. When they come out to fight us, we'll flee from them as we did the first time. So Joshua and his men will run away. And when this happens, they'll say to themselves, look, they're running away from us just like last time. And they'll keep chasing us until we've lured them away from the city. While we're running away from them, you guys jump up from your hiding place. Now, when I was reading this, I was reminded that we are hidden in Christ. And so when we jump up for warfare, we want to be hidden in Christ first. We want to have been in our secret place with Him. We want to have been spending time in His presence, that we go out to war with His presence. Jump up from your hiding place. Jump up from being hidden in Christ. Jump up from your secret place and then race into Ai and seize it. Yahweh your God will deliver the city into your hands. And when you've captured the city, set it on fire. Now that you have your orders, go and do as Yahweh has commanded. Burn it down. That's what we were saying about our enemy and the camp. Burn it to the ground. He said, you're going to set the city on fire. Okay, let me just take a drink here. I have to tell you that for me and my personality, my tendencies, whatever you want to say, I would not be the person that would go, yeah, burn the city. I would not be the one going, kill them all. I would not be the one going, yes, we can do. I would be the one in the back going, are you sure this is what he said to do? I've never heard of burning a whole city down before. And so I am right here with you in this book going, God, change my perspective, change my heart, because we're talking about our enemy here. Figuratively speaking, we're not talking about a people group. That's what I have to keep telling myself. I'm not talking about hurting other people. We're talking about the enemy and the way that we have to be relentless with him. So, bondage. What is the thing that keeps us captor, or what is our captor? What is keeping us captive? What is keeping us from God's complete? I know you would, Caitlin, be at the front. What is keeping us from the, you know, absolute best that God has for us? That's the kind of things that you're thinking about when he's saying, burn the city to the ground. No one escapes. Michelle, you're with who? You're with Caitlin at the front, or you're in the back with me? I think Gail's in the front for sure. Okay. Um, Now that you have your orders, go and do as Yahweh has commanded. We always want to ask for our orders. I told you we're going to need to write some things down. You've got to ask for your orders. You've got to ask God, what is it you want me to do and how do you want me to proceed? Or we're going to just like FAIL. So make sure you have his orders. Um, and then I'll read the next couple of verses and I'll tell you some other thoughts that I have. Oh, 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 yeah, there's a time for war. And you're a military family, Michelle, so you kind of understand some of this as well. Joshua then sent them off and then proceeded to take up a concealed position west of Ai, between Ai and Bethel, while Joshua spent the night with the rest of the troops. So early the next morning, Joshua mustered his troops. He had to muster his troops. I think that's so funny. You ever have to be a parent and you're going on vacation early and you got to wake up the kids, wake up the troops, and they do not want to get out of bed for the first day of school? He and the leaders of Israel went in front of the army and led them toward Ai. The entire fighting force with Joshua advanced until they were near the city and encamped north of Ai with a valley between them and the city. He placed a smaller force of about 5,000 men west of the city to set an ambush between Bethel and Ai. The main fighting force north of the city prepared for battle, while the rear guard held a concealed position west of the city, and Joshua spent the night in the valley. Now, we're all part of the battle, but we have different positions and we have different postures that we're taking. Some were resting in him, but they were on alert. Some were battling and some will be plundering, some will be burning, some will be what uh, well, the plundering would be the gathering. Some will be separating things. Some will be leading cattle out. Some will be, you'll see here later what they have to do after they've burned everything down. But maybe you're the torch carrier. Maybe you're one of the ones that comes in and begins to burn everything down. I don't know if you've ever had prayer for deliverance or really intense counseling and prayer, but there are different aspects that go on. And people, I've had so much joy in praying for people for deliverance because with a team of people who are ready for and astute. You know, everybody has their giftings and their what they bring, and somebody goes after this thing, and another person goes at it from another direction. Another person gets a word or discernment about it in this way, and then boom, the thing is gone and pulled out and burnt down and plucked up and plundered and goodbye. And the person's set free. And that reminds me of those glorious times when I have seen this happen for people, and myself included. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say that they spent the night in the valley here, so they were rested again to go into battle. And then dawn comes. And here we are at dawn in verse 14. When the king of Ai saw the Israelites, he and his army rushed out to fight. They ran to attack Israel at a predetermined place en route to Arabah, not knowing that an ambush had been set against them behind the city. And Joshua and all the main fighting force fled toward the wilderness as though they were being overcome. Joshua's tactic drew all of Ai's reinforcements out of the city, and they set off in hot pursuit of Joshua and his men. Not a man remained in Ai, nor or in Bethel, who did not go out in pursuit of Israel, leaving the city undefended. Their tactics really worked. Their city was completely undefended. There was no man left to take care of the women, the children, the livestock, the plunder. Everything was just uncovered, and I don't know. It was exactly as they planned. Um, then Yahweh spoke to Joshua and said, "Now take the spear in your hand and point it towards Ai, for I will hand the city over to you." So Joshua pointed his spear towards the city, and when Joshua gave this signal, all the men waiting in ambush behind the city jumped up from their position and poured into Ai. They quickly captured it and set it on fire. So God speaks to Joshua again and says, you know, this is when we have to have respect for our leaders and have to listen to our leaders and know that God is directing them. Even as just our pastor, you know, God is leading him to um, teach the body and to direct the body in a certain direction. And it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to follow. And so he's speaking to Joshua again, and he's saying, take the spear in your hand and point it towards Ai. And this reminded me of what God said to Moses in Exodus 4:17. He said, take this rod. It was Moses' walking stick. And he said, you will do wonders with this rod in your hand. And now he's telling Joshua, take this spear and point it towards the city. And you'll see here later in the scriptures that he never stops pointing the spear until the whole thing is over, because he doesn't want, this is how he's alerting the troops to come out into battle. Josh was giving them a signal, and so those that were waiting in the ambush knew to go forward. They knew the way was clear and that they could take the city down. And the last thing I want to say today, because I don't think we'll go any further than verse 19, is something that I said not yesterday, but Saturday or Friday, I can't remember. And I just want you to remember this is to show no mercy to the enemy. And we need to, I was thinking about texting a couple people that I know that are like me, who are genuine mercy showers. That is their gifting that God has given them, that everything they do in mercy. And so I was thinking about a few ladies that I knew and how helpful it was to me. I wanted to tell them that God is sometimes saying, show no mercy. And that's when he's talking about your enemy. And that's hard to show no mercy when you usually operate in mercy all the time. So, but he is saying, show no mercy to your enemy. And so we're going to stop here today. We're going to see more tomorrow what happens in chapter 8. But I just hope that you will have gleaned more information today about how to battle, how to war, what your position is, what your posture is, what your response is, and what God is saying. And we're in this together. I just want to keep journeying with you through Joshua and learning the things that God has for us right now in June of 2021. So God bless you today. Share this video with anybody that you feel might need to hear something. Tell other people if you feel like it to join us. No pressure, but sure is a great book to be in right now. Bye. I hope you have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.